Hey guys, welcome to Karast. In the last video we had our big showdown with Duriel, and luckily we made it through alright. Took a few tries, but you know, any fight you walk away from and all that. So I thought I'd do a quick overview of where we're at right now, as far as our equipment and stats. The two main changes were we got Impold here, these chain gloves, which replaced a fairly mediocre set of gloves we had previously. I switched the block shield that I had to one that just now has fire resist. That's the only real change. And we found Gorefoot on Duriel. Now, normally I would say like 100% of the time Gorefoot is better than the boots we have right now, but this provides fire resist, and one of the first mobs I'm actually worried about in Act 3 are the fetish shamans with their inferno attack. So until we clear that zone, I'm going to try and hold on to as much fire resist as I can. Because I'm worried that that's probably going to be one of the unfortunate but realistic ways we could die. So that's the reasoning behind that. We'll just hold on to Gorefoot and Gorefeet, whatever, until then. I'm probably going to stick with Malice, just because I think it's more efficient than my gemmed weapon at this point. And we'll start our way into Act 3. We should see the Wanderer over here. It's gonna go confetti popping on us here. Now, for Act 3, there's a few mobs to worry about. There's the fetish shamans that I mentioned, with their flamethrower attack, so when we fight them I'm going to treat them like the beetles in Act 2. I'm probably going to leave them to my mercenary. There's will-o-wisps, which aren't as bad as their Act 4 variant, but it's a sort of a foreshadowing into how annoying they can be. And like near the end of the act, there's the undead Stygian dolls, which their explosion is very dangerous for most people. And there's the Council and Mephisto. So those are the main ones to worry about. Of course, there's always the classics of don't get swarmed, be careful with boss mobs and all that. Like, make sure you're looking at what enchantments they have, or affixes, whatever you want to call them. So there's all those, but those are the basic mobs that I'm worried about. So that's why I'm kind of cautiously walking forward here, because I don't want to run into a bunch of shamans and get dual flamethrowered to death, because that is a legitimate possibility. Hopefully, sticking to our resistance boots will help, because then we're at a respectable 46, so cutting that damage in half, essentially. But you can never be too careful. We are getting a lot of gem drops so far. Oh, another life gem, that's nice. Or charm. I'm just gonna keep identifying them, because if they give benefits, I probably want them immediately, rather than sit there and die with a bunch of unidentified charms. Now I'm probably going to have to at some point clean out my inventory, but as I mentioned in a few videos, I'm pretty specific about what I decide to loot. So really I don't need that much space to pick up enough items to make gold. It's mainly just like if we find multiple items that I think are useful. Now we saw the Great Marsh was coming up there. I'm going to keep to the Spider Forest as long as possible, because we're going to want to go into the Spider Forest eventually. stick in the spider forest go into the caverns for the first piece of Callum's flail. As far as the first quest, that's technically the golden bird, which is just something that drops usually off the first super unique you run into. And conveniently enough, there is a super unique in the spider cavern, so we can ideally kill two birds with one stone there. After that, there's a bunch of doubling up quests, really. Act 3 has a lot of them. Oh shit, that is lightning enchanted. There's what I was talking about, of making sure I actually look at what I'm fighting, because I just did a full zeal into that. If he procced a lot, I would have been in trouble.
Perhaps I could trade this for something more valuable.
Okay, so there's the figurine, but I'm not gonna call it just yet. I'm gonna try and find the spider cavern, because it's a relatively small instance that we can go into. If you're wondering where the random lightning bolts are coming, if you didn't see it, it's on my gloves, I believe. It's just a chance on struck, probably. Yeah. Probably not going to be very helpful. It's a level 4 charge bolt, but whatever. Makes us look intimidating. Don't hit us, lightning everywhere. We get to have revenge on all the lightning enchanted mobs. Not really. We can say it to make ourselves feel better. Okay, so flare dungeons that way. So we are in the we rolled the type of map where in Act 3 the zones aren't guaranteed to be in one direction. See, normally, like if we were going from, say, Darkwood to Tambo Highlands, there would always be the Black Marsh in between. How the start of Act 3 works is the Spider Forest, Great Marsh, and Flare Dungeon, they can all be in a row, or they can all be separated from each other and instead branch off of Spider Forest rather than go Spider Forest, Great Marsh, Flare Jungle. Now this might not matter because I might not stick to the same game for all of Act 3, so maybe next time I come back it'll be rerolled in the other direction. But just thought I'd let you know in case you get lost in here. So that is the Great Marsh. I'm trying to figure out exactly how the spider dungeon's being divvied up here. I might go as far as I can in this direction and then just TP back and start at the beginning. If I'm being particularly scared, actually, a good idea would be to head back and give the bird and whatnot and finish that quest, because the reward for that is extra health. So it would be pretty lame if I ended up dying with the statue in my inventory. So I'm going to just do all of this first. I believe he gives you 20 extra health for finishing it. So there we go. Boom, 20 extra life. Act 3 has a few quests that are quite useful for that kind of thing. Unlike Act 1 and 1, 2, and 4, you don't get any skills from this act, but you do get, let's see, Act 1 gives you 20 health, and Quest 1 gives you 20 health, and Quest 4 gives you 5 stat points. That is those are the permanent buffs to your character that this act can give. Which, all things considered are pretty useful. Sorry, I was making sure there's no shamans over there. Usually when it branches off like that, there can be shamans, but we seem to be getting lucky not running into any. I can't remember if they start spawning in. Yeah, they do. Okay. So see that guy up there? I'm not gonna go fight him because he has that flamethrower effect there, which is scary business, so I'm going to try and avoid them as much as possible because it does a ton of damage. If I choke a chicken trying to hit him, then I take it for way too long because it's a damage over time type effect. So this could be the zone here. This is not it. Arachnid lair is the other one. There's the arachnid lair and the spider cavern. So we're looking for a different one. But we did find the waypoint, so it's not a total loss. There's another shaman over there. Luckily our Merc seems to have enough health. He also has about as much resistance as I do, so he's fairly accurate as to how fast we would be taking damage if we were to tank it ourselves, and he seems to be doing okay, but I mean, why risk it when we can just let him handle it? He is getting paid for it after all, although I mean, for however much we revived him for, 2,700, this is a lot of gold, or a lot of work to be doing for so little gold. But you can probably tell by now, this is one of the downsides of Act 3 in general, is it can get kind of mazy. You don't really know what where the things you're looking for can be, because it's not a very straightforward zone. Like, we've been running all over the place, yet there's no guarantee we're gonna find it here. So, this is probably one of the reasons why not many people actually like running through this act. Although, a lot of people rush the game in general. This is certainly a zone that's appreciated to be rushed. And it's actually pretty easy to rush because you don't need the flail, which is most of the quests, if someone has the Durance waypoint, the final waypoint in Act 3. So there's usually only 2 spider-ish zones like this with the webbing. So usually the arachnid lair is going to be in here, or spider cavern, excuse me. So all we need to do here is progress forward, and somewhere in here is a big chest, and in that chest is what we're looking for. There's Start the Burning, so that's probably the right direction. Down he goes. Level up for our merc, that's nice. That was a super unique, that spider there, and that's why I assumed we were going in the right direction, because usually he guards it. And there's Callum's eye. Alright. So, there's his eye. Very little room in here. But, there you go. Just your eye. So, that is that handled. Gotta go to the Flare Dungeon next, which I think we already saw the zone for, but I'm not too worried about walking it, so I will see you guys in the next one.